I first approached my youngest daughter about this project, I had asked her if she would like for me to rebuild her best friend's bicycle. She had told me that when they were riding, that she was a little bit distracted by how much her friend's bike was squeaking and concerned about how poorly it ran. Because it is her best friend. And that gave me the opportunity to suggest that I rebuild it for her. Now, when I say her best friend, I mean someone who's very special to her. If I had to count all of her friends on one hand, um, that would be easy to do. Her number one is the one that I've seen most, and the one that's been there for her the majority of the time. And I mean since kindergarten, maybe. They're in high school now, and we all know, or at least to some degree, we've all experienced the feeling that time goes by a little bit faster. You kind of lose it. You want to be there 100% of the time, and you do everything that you can to make that happen. Every now and again, you may drop the ball. But this young lady, her best friend, she's always been there. And this is just my way of saying thanks to her. So once again, thank you. Now, when I first got this bicycle, I saw that it was, it was a wreck. It, it needed me. Let's just put it that way. Um, it's not the kind of bicycle that I normally rebuild, um, but especially this particular time, and there has been a few in the past, but this particular time, it's not so much about what I'm building. It's about why. So that being said, I put everything that I had into it. As I was disassembling it, I realized that I had my work cut out for me. Getting the chain guard off, that was that was something else. I actually had to go in. The screws were very rusty and they were old and very worn. They didn't respond to my Phillips screwdriver at all. In fact, a couple of turns into it, I applied just a little bit of torque and it stripped it out. So I break out the drill with the Phillips end on it, and I made it even worse. And I really wasn't being impatient. Okay, yeah, it was. I was being a little impatient. Didn't work. So what I did, I got out my grinder and I shaped the screw in the shape of a bolt, and I got out my Crescent wrench and and tried it, and that didn't work too well. My vice grips, and I just kind of kept going back and forth between the two, and eventually I gave it a couple of turns, and off it came. And so yeah, so when I finally put it back on, it was with a different set of screws, different threading. I don't know if I filmed that part or not, but we'll see here in just a bit. Opening this thing up and seeing the rust on the inside of the bottom bracket and in the head tube, it just required service. All bicycles do. Um, the newer, more expensive bicycles, yeah, they have encased bearings, so they need less service. They also last you a lot longer, and they're more expensive. And they're geared more towards a rider that's a little bit more rugged and needs something more robust. And uh, this particular rider doesn't so much. However, I took the best of what I had and replaced all the cables, the brake cables, the brake pads, the shifter that she had. But it was broken. The shifter's broken. And I went through my parts bin and pulled out a shifter that I had taken off of another bike that I had replaced with a thumb shifter. And the one that was on there was perfectly fine. I just wanted a thumb shifter, so I took it off and set it aside because I knew at some point, sooner or later, that I would need it for a rebuild. And sure enough, I did. So I went my parts bin, got out the shifter, and put it on this bicycle, and it worked great. After replacing the cables, uh, cleaning out or servicing the bottom bracket and the head tube, the chain, there was just no saving it. And for sentimental reasons, I wanted to keep it as original as I possibly could. I wanted it to be the same bike. Obviously, if you've been watching, then you know that I could have taken this bicycle to a different level and made it, and made it into a custom bike. A lot of what you see nowadays, whether it be the urban bikers or the mountain bikers, you see a lot of customization. I do that a lot for customers and for my own bikes, and certainly for my kids. Uh, but I wanted to keep this as original as possible, down to the basket that was on it. So I didn't replace anything cosmetic. I just took what I had or what she had and tried to make it as nice as possible. I was going to replace the seat and the grips, and I thought about putting a different set of handlebars on it, and making it look more cruiser. But then I thought it would lose its sentimental value if I did that. I took the basket, cleaned it up as best as I could, and I just rewrapped the white trim that was on it with some white electrical tape, and what was on there was comparable to that, so it's what I had, so it's what I used. Truing the wheels, that's always fun. That's not a novice gig, and I've been doing this long enough, and I've made enough mistakes to know exactly what not to do, or at least to some degree. And I got them trued up. No lie. That was a lot of fun. A couple of details here and there never hurts. The cable ends on the end of the brake cables and the gear cable. They're kind of an anodized, sort of a aluminum alloy kind of a look, and purple to match the bike. It also matches Sissy's bike that I had built last Christmas for her. Because what I wanted for Sissy is to have a riding partner or someone that would inspire her to ride. With your kids, you always want to be able to inspire them and sort of create things for you guys to do together. And it works very often, but not always. And I understand. Now, I built her bike for her to ride. And now she has someone to ride with. So bringing that bicycle up to the level that it should be in order for them to ride together on a regular basis. I took a lot of pleasure in that. And it's the absolute least that I can do. These two guys, best friends forever. Everything is reciprocity. If you want friendship, you give it. If you want help, you give it. If you want love, you give it. If you want a smile, you give it. What comes back to you is what you give. But what she's given my daughter, I don't know. I don't know if we could ever pay her back. Suppose that this is a good start.